Now, close your eyes and imagine the cosmos as a giant tree, a cosmic anchor that connects 9 different worlds. This is not a figment of some hippie's imagination. It's actually the basis of Norse mythology, and we're going to tell you all about it today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel, where we bring you the best in mythology, folklore, and legends from around the world. So today, we'll be breaking down the 9 realms of Norse mythology. If you love all things Vikings, fantasy, or epic stories of good versus evil, then this is the perfect episode for you. The Norsemen believed that their world was merely one of 9, all interconnected by the roots and branches of a giant ash tree called Yggdrasil, also known as the World Tree. The Norse believed this tree held the entire universe together. Each branch reached into a different realm, connecting them all together. Without it, the realms would fall into chaos. So here are the 9 realms, starting with number 1, Asgard. This was the home of the Aesir gods, the main group of deities in Norse mythology, including the likes of Thor, Odin, and Frigga. Asgard was said to be protected by a magical wall made out of the same material as the stars, which glittered in the sky. The realm was ruled over by Odin and his consort, Frigga. His hall in Asgard was called Gladsheim, meaning shining home. It was located at the end of the Rainbow Bridge Bifrost, which served as the main route between Asgard and Midgard. The Bifrost was guarded by Heimdall, whose duty it was to sound the alarm when enemies were approaching. Speaking of Midgard, number 2 is Midgard, the world of men. As we mentioned, Midgard was connected to Asgard via the Bifrost. This was important because it meant that the gods could come down to Earth to interact with mortals and also keep an eye on them. However, sometimes they would get involved in human affairs a little too much, which often led to trouble. In fact, there was only one way for a mortal to win favor with the gods. They had to perform an act of such greatness that it caught the attention of the gods. Only then might they receive a gift from the gods, but beware, such gifts often came with a curse. We learned that lesson with Loki. At number 3, we have Vanaheim. This was the realm of the Vanir gods, who were nature deities associated with fertility, wisdom, and magic. Vanaheim was said to be full of lush vegetation and bountiful harvests. The river that flowed through the land was said to have healing properties and could cure any ailment. Yggdrasil's root system connected Vanaheim to the other realms, allowing the free flow of magic throughout the cosmos. One of the most famous Vanir gods was Freyr, who owned a magnificent ship called Skiftin, which could travel across the realms. It was said that Frey would use this ship to visit the other realms, bringing fertility and prosperity to all who believed in him. Another famous Vanir god was Freya, who was the goddess of love and beauty. She was known for her ability to grant wishes, and her chariot was pulled by 2 cats, which symbolized her connection to the other world. Next up at number 4, we have Jotunheim. This was the realm of the giants, or Jotnar, who were primordial beings that predated the gods. They were known for their immense strength and their hatred of the gods. In Norse mythology, the giants were seen as a constant threat to the order of the cosmos. They lived in Jotunheim, a frozen wasteland that was home to all kinds of dangerous creatures. Despite the harsh environment, the giants thrived there, using their magic and strength to survive. One of the most famous giants was Loki, who was the father of the god Thor. Even though he was a giant, Loki was respected by the gods for his intelligence and his ability to shapeshift. He was known for his trickery and his ability to cause chaos, which often put him at odds with the other gods. The conflict between the gods and the giants was one of the central themes of Norse mythology. It was said that the giants would eventually rise up and destroy the gods, but that the gods would ultimately prevail. Up next, we have Alfheim. This was the realm of the Light Elves, also known as the Lus. They were said to be beings of great beauty and magic, living in Alfheim, a realm of peace and harmony. The elves were known for their skill in healing and their ability to control the weather. They were also said to be immortal, living for as long as Yggdrasil grew. One of the most famous elves was Frey, who was known for his wisdom and his ability to bring light into darkness. He was said to live in a palace made of gold and crystal, and his followers believed that he could grant wishes and protect them from harm. However, the elves were not the only magical beings in Norse mythology. There were also the Dark Elves, also known as the Dvergar, who lived in Svartalfheim, also known as Nidavellir. They were said to be skilled blacksmiths who lived deep underground in the mountains. One of the most famous dwarfs was Brokkr, who was known for his skill in crafting weapons. He created Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and Loki's spear, Gungnir, which was said to never miss its mark. And speaking of hammers, let's go to number 6. That's right, I'm talking about Mjolnir. But before we get there, let's talk about Niflheim, the realm of ice and mist. It was said that Niflheim was the first place that the first giant emerged, and it was also the realm where the dead went before they were judged by the Valkyries. Now, Niflheim was a cold and desolate place, but it was also the source of all magic in the Norse cosmos. It was said that those who ventured into Niflheim could tap into its power and use it for good or evil. One of the most famous creatures that lived in Niflheim was the Draugr, an evil spirit that used corpses as vessels to stay in the land of the living. The Draugr were known for their ability to drain the life force from humans, and they were often buried with their victims to prevent them from escaping. However, sometimes the bravest of heroes would venture into Niflheim to retrieve the treasure of the Draugr, which was said to be incredibly valuable. Up next, we have Muspelheim, the realm of fire and brimstone. It was said that Muspelheim was the home of the fire giants, also known as the Surtur, who were huge and incredibly strong, able to withstand the heat of their realm without burning. One of the most famous fire giants was Surtur himself, who was destined to bring about the end of the world, also known as Ragnarok. He was said to wield a flaming sword that could cut through mountains and valleys, and his mere presence was enough to inspire fear and awe. Some stories say that Surtur's sword was forged in the heart of a dying star, and that it possessed powers beyond even his own understanding. Others say that the sword was given to him by the gods as a test of his strength, and that he was destined to wield it until Ragnarok came. Next, let's take a trip to number 8, Helheim, the land of the dead. Unlike Niflheim, Helheim was ruled over by Hel, the goddess of the underworld, who was neither good nor evil. Her realm was a dark and gloomy place, but it was also a necessary part of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Those who died in battle went directly to Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain, where they were welcomed by Odin and his band of Valkyries. But for those who died of sickness or old age, they went to Folkvang, the field of the departed, where they were greeted by Freya and her Valkyries. The dead were said to live in Helheim in much the same way that they had lived on Earth, and they could interact with the living if they so desired. However, it was also possible to remain in Helheim forever, and many of the dead chose to do so. And finally, we have number 9, the realm of the living. Just kidding. This is Midgard, the home of humanity. Where would you want to live? We have everything from dark elf blacksmiths to the Valkyries. And don't forget to take a ride on the cosmic tree Yggdrasil to get between these fantastic realms. So now you know all about the 9 realms of Norse mythology, the awesome places that were believed to exist in the cosmos according to the ancient Norsemen. Each realm had its own unique characteristics, inhabitants, and significance in the larger Norse cosmology, and together they formed a rich and complex picture of the universe. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more about Norse mythology, then check out our other videos on this amazing culture. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the realms of Norse mythology. We hope you enjoyed learning about the 9 realms and their importance in the larger Norse cosmology. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on mythology, folklore, and legends. Also, feel free to drop a comment below and let us know which realm fascinated you the most, or which myths or legends you would like to hear about next. Until then, stay tuned for our next video.